Guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another episode of Real Life Gig Advice. Today we're going to be talking about how to be a great dep, and we're going to be looking at three things. We're going to be looking at mindset of being a dep. We're going to be talking about the method of how to prepare for a dep, and the last thing that we're going to be talking about is when you've got to provide a dep. So for those of you guys listening who don't know what a dep is, so the word dep comes from the word deputy. So a sheriff is like the number one, and the sheriff has a deputy, which is like a number two. So the deputy, sorry about that, is the guy who looks after business when the sheriff isn't around. So basically, it's a reliable replacement. So what does it mean to be a great dep? Well, I can tell you what it isn't. You shouldn't be approaching deps with this mindset. Oh, I don't have to do as much preparation or homework because it's not my gig and I'm just depping. Right, this is totally wrong. It's wrong. Basically, as a dep, what you're aiming for is to receive this compliment at the end of the night or end of the gig. Wow, that was great. I didn't even realise that there was a dep there. Basically, what you need to do as a great dep is do your homework, turn up, ask minimal and only necessary questions, and nail the gig in one hit and get in and out. You know, you need to put yourselves in the shoes of the MD and the band members. You know, they might already be a little bit uneasy about having a dep on board for the gig. So if you kind of turn up and you're maybe like a little bit hesitant and you've not done your homework and you've got questions and you go in there a bit stressed and a bit nervous and you're asking all sorts of questions which you could have figured out on your own, you know, it's kind of going to put the band leader and the musicians on edge a little bit, when really they don't want to have to, if it's a regular gig or a show, you know, they don't want to have to hold anybody's hand. They just want a smooth ride, you know, and rightly so. If you've done your homework, you're going to turn up not stressed, totally relaxed. You're going to have clarity on what you're doing, and your vibe is going to be really cool. You're going to be relaxed. And that's going to transcend not only into your performance, but it's also going to transcend to the MD and the rest of the guys in the band. And overall, it'll just be a much better working environment. It'll just be a much better gig. So just do your homework and it'll all be cool. And so you've done your homework, you're relaxed, you've turned up to the gig, you've nailed it in one hit, without asking too many questions. Everybody likes you. You know, you're going to leave that gig leaving a great impression. You know, and everybody in the band is always going to remember you for that. You know, so the next time that the MD or the person you're depping for or the other band members, everybody involved, the next time they're booking a gig or a show or a tour or something, they'll remember that and they'll be like, oh, you need a dep? Oh yeah, you should call this guy or girl. Or, oh yeah, the regular guy isn't available for the gig. Who should we get? Oh, let's get such a buddy. They did a great job last time. See how it works? I'd say that when I first moved to London, I probably reckon that 90% of my work and my income came from doing deps. And, you know, when you're new on a scene, really, like, it's just the way it is. You know, you've got to do your homework, you've got to be prepared, and you've got to nail it, you know, because there's X amount of other people around in the city. If you're in a city, you know, there's a lot of competition. You know, you've got to build that reputation as somebody who does the homework and nails it. And doing a great job as a dep is a great way to show that you're trustworthy and reliable and prove yourself. because basically you've just got to, when you're new in a city or a town or a big city, you've kind of just got to get in line really. So let's talk about mindset for a second, because this is important. So when it comes to my mindset regarding depping, I look at it like somebody's given me something very precious to take care of, and I've got to do all that I can to take care of this thing, and make sure it works properly, and it's an extension of the chair holder. I've just got to be an extension of his or her quality and bring the vibe, what they bring to the table, go the extra mile and give more value to it. Another thing about mindset is that I'm personally of the opinion that I'm aware that, for me, I would be aware that I'm depping on something, but I prefer to look at myself as a professional who's being booked to do a job in one hit and get in and get out. Because if you're there on the gig and you're at sound check or wherever on the way to the gig in the car and you're like, oh no, I'm number 2. He's the sheriff and I'm the deputy. It's just not a good mindset to be in. It just doesn't. It's not positive, and that's going to reflect in your performance because music is so personal, and that's another video. But your instrument is another voice. It's language. I mean, that is another video. But yeah, you just got to stay positive. Like music, when it comes to the business side of things, and if you start talking about performance anxiety and all this, it's very mental. It can be a very mental game, so I found that way works for me. Okay, cool. So my method for depping on gigs. So I'll give you an example. So last year I depped on the Gabrielle gig. For those of you who don't know, Gabrielle is a UK pop soul singer. So I was depping on that gig for a good friend of mine. So what happened was, got the call Monday, Tuesday. For the Saturday, I had to move a few things around, but I was available. So I've got the Dropbox. So Dropbox is like a file sharing platform. So I got the recording. I got a live recording of the gig with all the arrangements in there. So then I learnt all the arrangements note for note. It was kind of a last minute thing because normally what I do if I'm depping on a gig and I've got time, I'll get the arrangements, and if there's no charts for the arrangements, then I'll make my own charts, because then I can write them out, I can store them, and then I can put them on my Dropbox, and then I've always got them up there, and then I can stick them on my iPad. And then if I get called to do the gig in the future, then for last minute emergencies, I've always got it and I can always go back and revise it. But due to the nature of this situation, I got the call like early in the week and the gig was on the Saturday and I was already working. I already had a busy week. So I didn't have time to sit down, write everything out, and then internalize it. So what worked for me in that situation was I decided to just learn everything by ear and internalize it with no charts. So what I did was, I think there was 10 tunes or something. I got the stuff on the Monday, so I learned half on Monday, half on Tuesday, and then Wednesday to Friday I was like running the set every day to make sure that my muscle memory was familiar with it, and my ears were familiar with it. Another thing as well, when I'm depping on gigs, I like to have the music playing fairly consistently. Like I'll be listening to it on headphones if I'm walking around, or if I'm cooking, or I'm in the car. One of the most important things, in my opinion, when you're trying to internalize something is that, okay, you're learning this stuff, half on Monday, half on Tuesday, running it every day. That's great. But in between those times, you've got to sleep. For me, memorizing and internalizing, I know that if I learn a new tune on a Monday, if I really want to make sure that it's in the tank, I know that I've got to sleep Monday night, wake up Tuesday, and I know it'll be in there. Guys, let me know in the comments below, because I'm pretty sure that I saw this on a documentary or something about the brain. I can't remember where I've heard this. Somebody might have told me, but I believe that what happens is with your brain when you go to sleep, the brain decides which information that it's going to keep from that day, what the most important information is. So that's what I found works for me, is that if I need to learn something and internalize it and really get it in my memory, I'll learn it on Monday, I'll sleep, then the next day it'll be great. It'll be in a really good place and it'll be in there. So on this occasion, I was running it every day, so I wanted to make sure that I was super comfortable when the gig came around, because I don't want to feel nervous when I'm doing a first time dep. I want to feel confident and I want to feel relaxed, like I've already told you guys, you know. So another thing, guys, so let's say you've got the recordings of a live gig or whatever kind of recording it is, right? And you notice that the just say bass player, to make it easy for myself, that the bass player is putting a fill in right before the chorus, right? So personally, what I would advise is transcribe the fill, figure out what's going on with it, what's the vibe of it. Is it a funky thing? Is it a churchy thing? Is it a beboppy thing? Bluesy lick? What is it? How does that relate to the arrangement? You can turn up and play the exact fill which the original bass players played when you get to the gig. I think the most important thing that you can take from that is the vibe of the fill that they're playing and the moment within the arrangement. Because that's like a little bit of space where that player has decided to put a bit of personality in there. And now that you've understood that and you understand the vibe, what he's putting in there, I don't think that there's anything wrong with putting your own personality and vibe into that moment, but doing it respectfully to the music and the arrangement. Because I think as well, this portrays confidence and ability. And yeah, it's confidence. It's like, you know, say for example, you're depping on a tour and, you know, you come in to do a dep and, you know, the guys have been playing the same fills every night or whatever. You know, you might come in and you've observed the space, you've observed the vibe, but you've put your own little thing on that little bit of the arrangement, which is just a little detail, you know, and the guys are like, yeah, you know, they'll be digging it, they'll get a kick out of it. And the last thing that I want to talk about, guys, is providing a dep. Now this is really, really important. So maybe some of you guys are thinking, right, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get a dep who isn't really up to it. I'm here. He is here in ability, so I'm going to get this guy because then I'm going to look better and there's going to be no competition and he's not going to steal my gig. This is absolute rubbish. That is totally wrong. And all that is going to do is diminish your reputation. If you need to dep a gig, you need to put in a dep who is as qualified or even more qualified than yourself. So maybe some of you guys thinking, oh, but won't he steal my gig because he's better than me? Well, no, not necessarily. Because if they are a respectable human being and respectable musicians, then they know how the business works and they know that it's much more beneficial to have a great, healthy working relationship with people who offer work to them, like on a dep basis, and who they dep work to as well, especially when it comes to longevity in the music industry. Because if you do try and like steal people's gigs, you know, word travels fast. It's a small industry. It's a small world. And you're going to get a reputation. And people will know that they can't rely on you. And they can't trust you. So don't be that person. Just don't be that person. So what it says when you do put in a great dep who is your ability or higher, what it says to all the musicians in the band, including the MD and the fixer and the agent or whatever, what it says to them is that you care about their gig. You care about their gig. You care about the musicians. You care about the gig and everything involved, including musicians, because you want them to have a good night. It shows that you surround yourself with quality musicians and that you're reliable and trustworthy. Because what will happen is you'll have the conversation over the phone the next day with the band leader and say, "Oh, hey, how was Joe Bloggs last night?" And if you put in a reliable dep, your ability or higher, they are going to say, "Oh, he was amazing. Great hang, really cool guy. He did his homework. He nailed the gig. Really great player. Really happy to have him back." And that is exactly what you want. You want a 5-star review, basically. And this really works in your favour, guys, because let's say you're working with your regular band and another gig comes in and it clashes with your regular band. But you really want to go and do this other gig because it's somebody you really want to work with, and whatever the reason is, you really want to go and make this other gig work. If you've already put in a good dep that somebody's really happy with, you can go to the band leader and say, "Oh, look, I've got this other gig coming. I really want to make it work because of a couple of reasons." And you can say, "Oh, Joe Bloggs is available." And they'll be like, "Oh yeah, great, cool, no problem." It's a win-win situation because you can now provide a dep that everybody is happy with. It comes down to the fact that the music industry is a people business. And in this business, trust and reliability is absolutely everything. All right, guys, nice one. Thank you so much for sticking all the way to the end. I hope that this gives you value and you've learned something today with this about how to be a great dep. There's going to be more content coming for you. Please let me know in the comments below if there's anything that you would like me to talk about. I read the comments and I'm up for it. I'm up for helping you guys out in whichever way I can. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment, like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. You know what to do, and I'll see you next time. Take it easy.